Have you ever been told to just let it go? It sounds so simple, so peaceful, almost like a gentle sigh of relief. But if you've ever tried to do it, you know the truth. Letting go is one of the hardest things the human brain can be asked to do. It's not just a mental decision. It's a deep, biological struggle against our own wiring. Today we're going to explore the fascinating neuroscience behind why holding on is our default setting, and how we can consciously guide our brains toward the freedom of release. So why is it so agonizingly difficult to release a person, a dream, or even a past version of ourselves? It all starts with how our brain forms attachments. When we connect deeply with something, whether it's a romantic partner, a career path we've poured our heart into, or an identity we've carefully constructed, our brain doesn't just take a casual note. It literally rewires itself through a powerful cocktail of dopamine, the neurotransmitter of reward and motivation, and the intricate process of memory formation. The person or idea becomes woven into our neural fabric. It's no longer just an external thing. It becomes a fundamental part of our internal map of the world. This map is what tells us who we are, what matters to us, and most importantly, what keeps us safe. Think of it like building a house. Each memory, each shared experience, each future plan is a brick. Over time, we build a solid structure that feels like home. It's familiar, it's stable, and our brain loves it. So when life suddenly demands that we let go, when a relationship ends, a dream shatters, or we have to shed an old identity, our brain doesn't perceive it as a simple change of address. It perceives it as a part of the house, a part of our very self being torn away. This is why heartbreak, major life transitions and endings hurt on such a profound, almost physical level. Your brain is signaling a threat to its very structure, a loss of a part of its own body. It's not you being dramatic, it's your biology screaming in protest. Let's dive deeper into the neuroscience of holding on. When your brain senses this loss, your amygdala, the brain's vigilant, highly sensitive emotional alarm system, goes into overdrive. It fires off warning signals, flooding your system with stress hormones like cortisol. The amygdala doesn't distinguish between a physical threat, like a predator, and an emotional threat, like abandonment. To it, loss is danger. At the same time, your prefrontal cortex, the more logical, rational part of your brain, desperately tries to make sense of the situation. It tries to rationalize, to find solutions, to bargain. But here's the crucial part. In this initial battle, emotion almost always wins. The amygdala's alarm is louder and faster than the prefrontal cortex's calm reasoning. This is the neurological reason why you find yourself replaying memories on a loop, overthinking every detail of what went wrong, and feeling an intense, almost addictive craving for what or who is gone. That craving is driven by the dopamine system. Your brain remembers the high of the connection and is now experiencing withdrawal. It's not a sign of weakness or a failure of willpower. It is a predictable, physiological response to the removal of a major source of reward and stability. It's your brain's wiring in action. But here's where the story turns from struggle to hope. Your brain, in all its complexity, is not just built to hold on. It's also brilliantly designed for healing and adaptation. This is the principle of neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to reorganize, rewire, and create new pathways throughout your life. When you consciously decide to accept the loss, you begin a powerful process of change. When you allow yourself to grieve, to truly feel the pain without judgment, and to make the choice to release, you activate other crucial brain systems. Specifically, you engage the hippocampus, which is central to learning and memory, and you stimulate the vagus nerve, the main highway of your parasympathetic nervous system, which is responsible for calming your body and mind. By feeling the emotions instead of suppressing them, you allow them to be processed. This calms the amygdala's stress loop. Over time, you begin to rewrite your emotional memory. Your brain starts to learn a new, vital lesson. It can and will survive this change. The world didn't end. You are still here. This new reality can also become safe. So how do we practically apply this knowledge? How do we move from understanding the science to actually doing the work of letting go? It begins with a foundational step. Acknowledge the grief. Letting go, no matter the context, always involves some form of mourning. You're grieving the loss of a future you envisioned, the comfort of a routine, or the sense of self that was tied to what you've lost. Grief is not an emotion to be overcome. It is the brain at its natural and necessary process of reorganizing a world that no longer makes sense. So don't rush it, don't shame it, and please don't ignore it. The most powerful thing you can do is to simply name it. Find a quiet moment, take a breath, and say to yourself, either out loud or in your mind, I'm grieving something that mattered deeply to me, and that's okay. This simple act of validation is the first signal to your brain that you are on its side, ready to work with it, not against it. Once you've given yourself permission to grieve, the next step is to detach from the story. Often, what keeps us painfully stuck isn't the loss itself, but the narrative we have constructed around it. We tell ourselves stories like, I was supposed to be with that person forever. That job was my one true purpose. That younger, happier version of me was the real me, and I've lost them. These stories, while understandable, chain us to the past. They create a script where the only happy ending is one that is no longer possible. When your brain holds onto this story, it's constantly in a state of conflict, trying to fight reality and rewrite the past. The key is to recognize that the person, the job, or the situation was a part of your journey, not the entire destination. Releasing the story doesn't mean the experience wasn't meaningful. It means you are allowing the story to have an ending, so a new chapter can begin. This frees your brain from its futile battle with the past and allows it to adapt to the present moment, where life is actually happening. This leads us to the final and perhaps most profound step. Choose freedom over control. Here lies the great paradox of letting go. True peace only arrives when you stop trying to force it. The desire to control the outcome, to manage the pain, to speed up the healing process. It all comes from a place of fear. Control feels safe, predictable. It gives our anxious brain a job to do. But in reality, this constant effort to control is what traps you in a cycle of resistance and suffering. Freedom, on the other hand, feels uncertain, vulnerable, and a little scary. But it is in that surrender that healing truly happens. When you consciously choose to surrender your grip, to trust the process, and to allow things to be as they are, your brain responds beautifully. It releases a cascade of calming, bonding neurochemicals like oxytocin and serotonin, the very chemicals that rebuild your sense of emotional stability and well-being. Letting go is not an act of forgetting. It doesn't erase the love, the meaning, or the precious memories. It doesn't mean it didn't matter. It simply and bravely says, I am ready to grow beyond this. I'm ready to integrate this experience into who I am and move forward. And here is the most beautiful truth of all. In letting go, you are not losing who you were. You are returning to the essence of who you are and stepping into the person you are becoming. The experience has shaped you, but it does not have to define your future. So, take a deep breath right now. Feel the air fill your lungs. And as you exhale, imagine your hands, your shoulders, and your heart unclench just a little. Remind yourself of this gentle but powerful truth. What is truly meant for you will never need to be chased, forced, or clung to. Because genuine, lasting peace doesn't come from holding on tighter. It comes from the quiet courage of trusting the letting go. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey into the mind and heart. If this resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more insights into your emotional and mental world. Your support means everything. Be kind to yourself, and we'll see you in the next one.